It is faster.
No, I'm pushing. They do? Okay, can you talk about it in the morning? Okay. I need to know insurance and, is it Bruce that does that?
Call the meeting to order. It's 6 p.m. Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the City of Williston City Council. Welcome to everybody. Mrs. Wright, would you call roll, please?
Mayor Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Head.
Here.
Vice President Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Cox.
Here.
Councilmember Jones. Here. Councilmember Ross.
Here.
City Manager Jackie Gorman.
Here.
City Attorney Fred Copeland.
Here.
Deputy City Manager C.J. Zamoski. City Planner Laura Jones. Here. Assistant Fire Chief.
Here.
Billy Lewis. Chief Snow.
He's here.
He's here. And City Clerk Latricia Wright here.
Thank you. If you would, please stand and join us for the opening prayer and pledge led by the Mayor.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings that you have given us, Lord. We pray that you would just be with all of us here. We pray that you would just have your healing hands touched upon everyone here and rid us of this COVID virus that is so rampant today, Lord. We pray that you would just be with our national, state, and county leaders, Lord. We pray that you would lead, guide, and direct them so that they would do what is best for the people and for this country. Protect our police and fire in performance of their duties, Lord, and be with our military men and women wherever they may be, and protect and provide for them. Be with this council tonight, Lord. Give them guidance as they come to decisions for the city, Lord. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, item 1, additions, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda. Any changes? City Clerk. Council have any questions?
No, sir.
Not, I've entertained a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item 2 is public participation. For those of you in the audience, this is your first chance. We'll have 2 tonight for public participation. If you'd like to speak about something that's not on the agenda, if you'll please come up to the podium, state your name and city of residence, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak.
Hello, I'm Nancy Weininger, and I want to tell you it's good to be with you again. It's nice to see all of you. Here, I'm coming to speak for you tonight because I decided not to run for council again last year because I wanted to spend more time with my husband.
It's not on, I don't
But
think.
it's well.
Is that better?
Yep.
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, all right, good, let me take this off here. Anyway, I wanted to spend more time with my husband, plus I wanted to do more things in the community. And one thing that I have been associated with for about 5 years is called justserve.org. And what it is it's a website that allows you to go on, if you're a 501c nonprofit and you organization, you go onto the website and you post your project for volunteers. If you're a regular citizen, you go on and you see what opportunities are available. So it's a match of opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and volunteers. It's been around, like I say, I think for probably 5 or 6 years now, and I can't stress this enough, it is non-profit. It can't be legislative, it can't be political, it can't be religious, it can't be soliciting money. It is strictly for volunteers. I was going to show you one of these pages. Let's see if I can get this up and you can maybe see a little bit of it. But going on justserve.org will get you there. It is, it's not going to come up very well. But what you'll see is when you first pull it up, you'll see a little box and it says put in the zip code. So we would put in, if we want to work in Williston, 32696, and it would pop up with the different opportunities. Right now I think there are about 7. just in our immediate area. Some of them are photographing the headstones at the cemetery for genealogical purposes. There are others, there's Meals on Wheels, Salvation Army, Red Cross, San Diego Padres, it's nationwide. So any kind of opportunity that you need help with for volunteers, put it on that project. There's no fee, there's no cost at all associated with this. It is just a service for our community. I think COVID, has separated us and also brought us together. That this is an opportunity to really bring us together, to maybe correct some misconceptions about each other. Just working shoulder to shoulder with someone in the community, you know how much that helps to build the community. There's also another thing, and that is that right now, that we have some t-shirts, justserve.org, that if you have a project that you want to take from Just Serve and do that project, just give me a call and I'll get you a t-shirt. If it's something that you want to do that's not on Just Serve, but it still fulfills that community feel that you're helping in the community, again, let me know and we'll get you a t-shirt. One other thing I was going to tell you, it is nationwide, so if you and your family are taking your lives in your hands and going on vacation outside of here, and you have some time you want to do something different, if you go on Just Serve, there will be opportunities in Tennessee. Right now, I pulled it up just before I came home, and within 50 miles of Williston, there are 87 opportunities. There are plenty of ways to help, even donations, people who need crocheted items or knit items. Maybe they're making animals for children. I just can't tell you the variety of projects there are. So please take a minute, get a minute to look at that. The city can put the Mayor's Cleanup Day on here. All kinds of things can be done. And again, the sense of it is just that we'll become more of a community than we have been. So, do you have any questions? No, pretty straightforward. So, and it is, it's really good to see you guys. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Aaron, anybody online?
Anybody on the GoToMeeting like to speak up? Speak up now, forever hold your peace. Nothing heard.
Okay. Move on to item 3, the consent agenda. It consists of the council minutes from January 19th meeting and resolution 2021-10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, ratifying the mayor's extension of the state of emergency arising from the COVID-19 public health emergency.
Move the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Oops.
Sorry.
You gotta be quick around here. I'm telling you. We got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. All right. Consent agenda is passed. Item 4 is old business. Item A is staff and board and council updates. We will start with City Manager Gorman.
Good evening, everyone. Not a lot this week. Our RFP for our collection services for our waste collection went out yesterday, and we've got a good response so far. People are emailing like crazy asking for an RFP, so that's happening. Our HR director, I have my dates mixed up with staff. I said it was next Monday, but she'll be coming on board February 15th. It's Melissa Thompson. She'll be our new HR director. Beginning a week from Monday, so we're excited about that. She comes with a lot of experience. You're going to be seeing probably, I'm working towards getting the IT position established on the next agenda, so that's in the mix now. I thought Ben was going to be here, send me something for the airport. He's not, but that's basically all I have. I do have results for our collection company, you know, for our debt collection. So I will have that on the next agenda for approval of that contract once we had to get everybody together to rank it and review it, and it just was a process. So that's done, and we're ready to move forward with it.
Go back to the RFPs for waste pickup. How long do they have to respond to that?
I knew I should have brought it with me. The dates, I want to say I've got a pre-bid meeting, so everybody get questions answered in a couple of weeks. I believe it bids on March 19th, middle of March. So we're hoping to have everything done by the 1st of May to start the new service, because we have like 2 months to get the bid award, get the contract approved, and then there's a transition period that we've got to go through in changing out dumpsters and so forth, so on. So I want to say it was March 19th, but I'll
Like
email
60
it to
days.
you.
Like 60 days or 30 days for the
It's
return?
60 days. I
For
have
the
it in my
return.
calendar, yes. So I know that I'm trying to get everything ready to new service to begin May 1st, so I have backed into that calendar several times, so I don't have it to memory yet.
Right.
But I'll send it to you, so you have it.
Okay. What was the name of the HR director?
Melissa Thompson?
Spelled Melissa, right?
Well, it's Melisa. It's Lisa with a...
M-E-I?
Melissa, yes.
Oh. And somewhere I thought it was spelled wrong.
Okay, anything else?
This one's
Any
good.
questions for city manager? Okay. Deputy city manager, CJ.
Good evening. So to make you aware, we have met with Florida Municipal Power Association, Florida Gas Utility, and Florida Rural Water. Trying to get some preliminary information for the rate study for the utilities. So we'll be beginning in the next few weeks to get that together. Through all of these rate studies, at this point, there will not be a charge for any of these. It's part of our membership to these entities. Again, as we had spoke about the new electric contract, this will kind of coincide with that, see where our rates are, what our needs are, and all of that. That's all I have.
Any questions for CJ? All right, is Mr. Williams with us, CRA? No?
No, but I can, and between Laura and I think we can update you on what's going on. He just wanted to discuss a couple things. Block 12 bid is, for the parking lot, is in the works right now. CJ's reviewing it, the whole packet, before we go out to bid for the parking lot, so that is finally launching. We've had to make some changes to that plan. They're minor. We have the architect engaged in looking at the arcade for renovation, because the city does own the arcade. And then each business on each side, we're gonna move forward with doing the facade on that, just to try and get other owners excited and get some synergy going again. So he wanted to talk about that. Laura, do you remember what else Nick needed to speak on? It's just basically bringing you up to date, so if you don't have anything to do, attend the CRA meeting, because we have a lot happening with that, so it's exciting.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else have anything? Chief?
I do.
Okay.
Chief Stiegel directed me to go to the county commission meeting this morning and talk to them about the $175 a call that we could charge Levy County to run calls in Morrison when they had no response. Levy County Commission agreed to it. Their attorneys got to draw up the paperwork, and they also said they'd put a retroactive date on it, but they didn't set what the date would be. So if you want to call a county commissioner and say like 3 years ago, that'd be great.
Yeah, really.
So just in 18 and 19, we ran 201 calls down there that we could have got paid for. 19 and 20 was 312, so it'd have been $54,600 just for last year. And we're on pace to do it again this year.
Great, thank you. Chief Stroh?
I have nothing. Well, I'll do.
We're helping the Lee County Health Department this Friday, do drive-through COVID vaccination at Horseman Park. It's gonna be by appointment only, and they got everybody lined up. It's gonna start at 8:30 in the morning, should wind up at 4:30, and they're gonna do groups of like 30 at a time. So we're gonna, Public Works are gonna assist with some cones, we're gonna provide security, and it looks like this might be a regular thing, because the doses appear to be increasing as weeks are in the very near future. So I'll keep you all posted on what we're doing.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Wright, you have anything? All right, council, Mr. Ross, we'll start with you. Anything?
No.
I don't have anything at the moment.
Okay. Mayor? No? No? Okay. Scott, anything to update us with? Okay. All right. We will proceed then to item B, the second reading, ordinance number 689. I'll read this. An ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, providing for the permanent closing of all that portion of the right-of-way as recorded in the official records, book 7, page 15 of the public records of Levy County, Florida, finding that the closing of the easement will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, finding that the closing of the easement is in the best interest of the city and for the general welfare of its citizens, providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
My only question is, absolutely only question is, in the packet, it says that it's ordinance 389, and on our agenda, it says 689. I just need to know which one so that we can make a motion. It's really 689? Okay. Would you entertain a motion?
I would.
Okay. I move, ordinance.
Yes, sir. Sheriff Blunt?
Open a public hearing briefly to Stephen's comment.
Okay. You want me to do that, right?
Before the motion, I guess.
Before a motion's made, we'll open now a public hearing on ordinance 689, as I just read. This one where I need to ask if anybody has any ex parte communication with any of the parties?
Yes, sir, that's always good practice.
Okay. Anyone? Okay. If anybody would like to speak on this item, I think we need to swear you in. Is that correct?
No, sir, not in this, this is a legislative.
That's, okay. All right. So, public hearing is open. Anyone want to speak to this matter? Hear anybody online? No? Okay. Somebody. You're on board.
Good.
Okay. So there's no discussion on the matter?
No.
Okay. Well, so now we can close the public hearing, correct? Public hearing is now closed.
You're so good.
All right. So back to item B, ordinance 689.
I move ordinance 2021-689, an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, providing for the permanent closing of the 30-foot drainage right-of-way lying between Lot 10, Block A, and Lot 11, Block A, Northwood Estate, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in plat book number 7, page 15 of the public records of the Levy County, Florida. Finding that the closing of the right-of-way will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. Finding that the closing of the right-of-way is in the best interest of the city and for the general welfare of its citizens. Providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Still working.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second approving second reading of ordinance 2021-689. All those, any other discussion on the council? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, second reading passes. All right, item 5, new business. Item A, discussion with possible action, temporary use permit for a gun show. City planner Laura Jones.
Yes, sir. In your packet, there should be an agenda item explaining, what happens here. We have a industrial use and air sign. You guys know that?
Could you turn on your mic or get closer?
Oh, boy. Can you hear me now?
No.
You Gotta get closer. You have to get closer.
Okay, so we have a written request for a gun show at the Airsign property from Airsign Airship Group. This is Mr. Greg Jacobs. And it is an industrial zoning, so I cannot give them permission. It has to come from city council. And that would be a special permit for temporary use. This is because it's gonna be a lot of retail. And I gave you guys the ordinance. There is a fee that you could set, and it just said reasonable fee as set by you guys. I do have the written request here. We were just remiss getting it in the packet, so we'll pass it down. Do you want me to read it? Or do you want to just read it yourself?
Could you read it, please?
Okay. So, dear City Williston Council members, Airsign Airship Group, on behalf of USA Gun Shows, would like to request your approval of a temporary use permit. This permit would allow USA Gun Shows an opportunity to hold a gun show on February 20th and 21st. The event will take place at Airsign's facility located at 12 Northwest 5th Place, Williston. USA Gun Shows will be conducting a concealed carry class for anyone that is interested. The class does have a portion that requires participants to prove a certain level of handgun shooting proficiency. Mr. Jeffers of USA Gun Shows provides wax bullets for this part of the course, commonly used in shooting competitions and training. The wax bullet has no gunpowder. The wax projectile is propelled by the primer alone, so no loud noise to disturb residences. There will be 2 people assigned to assist event attendees regarding parking. The venue site has plenty of parking available. We intend to occupy not only Airsign's parking lot, but Royal King's parking area also. There are additional grassy areas that would be used to receive any overflow during the event. We're in hopes that the council will grant the permission for this 2-day event, and in doing so realize the economic returns that the city of Williston receives as a whole. Thank you for your consideration, and that was signed by Greg Jacobs, Airsign.
Okay.
And Mr. Jacobs and
Oh, he is? Welcome. Council have any comments, questions? Mayor?
I got 2 questions. Has Rural King approved the use of their parking lot?
Yeah, I haven't spoke to them, but I'm sure they will. What we're also gonna do is, because of the fact that they park the tractors outside, we're gonna take several of them that they have, park them up on their porch, so people that are coming in and out are really on the ground level with the new tractors that they have set out.
Okay, so, yeah, I don't want to see any damage to those things. Also, it says that there is a certain level of handgun shooting proficiency. Where is that going to take place?
Okay, around behind the building.
What?
The bars.
Are there any residents close to that, or are you going to have a haystack, or how are you going to have it cordoned off?
It's bringing in something for a backstop. These things, with this wax bullet, it's only 500 feet a second or something, and they're only shooting it from roughly about 14 feet away. So if you can't hit a hay bale from 14 feet, you're not going to get a good concealed carry license for sure. That's all.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I just would like to say, who is USA Gun Shows? I mean, are they a national outfit that goes all over?
No, actually, Ben was gonna be here. He was supposed to meet me here, but he just had the one in, Crystal River last weekend.
Okay.
And he's hoping to have this one on like a 3-month rotation. So he has one here, one in Palm City, and one somewhere else besides here and in Crystal River. So he's kind of an independent guy.
And they have liability insurance if they could show the city or
Yes.
on their behalf for this show.
Correct.
I'm glad it's a wax bullet, so a real thing. I think I'm okay with it, other than that. I don't know what we would do. I guess they'd have to come back every 3 months to get a temporary use permit.
Ms. Gorman?
Yes, sir. Am I on? Everybody hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me now? Sorry. when you're gonna use a facility for a large event, Crystal River uses the mall, because it's retail, and it's been, constructed for heavy retail, and they use the armory. I've been dealing with the gun show in another life for many years. Brings a lot of people, which is good for the town, that's not an issue at all. But when you take a facility and you're gonna use this for large events all the time, you need to get things in place to support a large event all the time. And the things that you look at is, number one, I think when I talked to Mr. Walsh, you said he was gonna be using a facility next to his air sign office. We need to probably get that inspected and looked at to make sure bathrooms, I've never known of a business being in there, so it's been taking a while. So we probably need to, we'll work with Mr. Walsh to try and get inspection take place. Big events, you look for things like traffic control, which I understand they're gonna have bathrooms, make sure there's adequate bathrooms. Security, especially when you're dealing with guns. You gotta make sure that there's no intrusion on these neighbors. That's big, because that's gonna stop the event if it's not done well. So we're hoping, and we'll work with them on their permit application, and there's probably a fee in our fee schedule, we'll look at that too, to deal with it. We want this business, we think it's good. We just gotta get it accommodated. It's already been advertised, so we're like, after the fact, trying to catch up and making sure things are in place to accommodate this event. So, just making you aware that if it's gonna be a constant, every 3 months, we need to really work to make sure that that's an industrial area. It's not a retail area for events. Temporary permit does allow you to do things in industrial, but if it's constant retail turnover, you gotta look at that at some point and figure out what you wanna be as you move forward. So we'll work with him on making sure some of these ends are tied and the concerns are met. Just wanted to let you know that's what that permit's for, is making sure our emergency folks know that there's going to be a large crowd in there. It brings a lot of people, so you don't be surprised. You're going to see traffic back up and everything else happening here, and we just need everybody to know that it's happening for 2 days, and that they can facilitate something of this size. That's all I have.
A couple more.
Yes.
The weapons are gonna be, this is a 2-day event.
Yes, sir.
Is there gonna be security during the night, since the weapons are gonna be there?
Yeah, there's somebody that stays inside the building.
Okay.
And they're also gonna have somebody, then he also has a guy that comes in, has a little trailer, and he has a dog, so he works the outside perimeter.
Okay, all right, and then there's gonna be security during the day during the event?
Yes, sir.
Did I understand you, Ms. Gordon, right, that between you and the city planner, you would actually determine the fee?
I think it's in our fee schedule, I'll go back and look at it. We have a little time, we have another meeting before I believe that happens. When's the date of that? March, in February is the date of it?
20th to 21st.
We'll check out, if there's a problem, we'll let you know, but our fee schedule should cover temporary. We've had temporary permits before, I need to go back and look at it, see what the fee is. The code lets you set that fee, and you probably already did it, and it's in our fee resolution, I believe, I just need to double check.
Okay.
Take care of it, and we'll make sure the insurance certificate is submitted, and the inspection's done on the facility, all that goes hand in hand with making sure that we're doing what we need to.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Since we are dealing with guns, I think it's important that due diligence calls for us to look at the background of the person who's responsible for holding the event. And so somehow that information does need to be provided before that is approved.
I would agree, because I've never heard of this concern or the gentleman who's named.
He's, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know he's a local individual who's been here a long time. He used to do
Mr. Jeffers has been here a long time?
Yeah. Used to do some appraising here and other things, but,
Okay.
and I know he does these gun shows around different places, but yes, that was a question that I had. I mean, it's, apparently the property owners themselves are actually applying for the permit, but we will have all the background information on the event.
For example, I'm sure
First of all,
if he's got a concealed weapons permit, it's had a background check. I mean, he probably has a concealed weapons permit if he's got a gun show.
Oh, I'm sure.
So that, just simply seeing that would probably help.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at there. Surely we're gonna have information on the person putting on the event, not just the property owner, but to your point, he's actually giving concealed weapons
Right.
training there, so.
He's probably passed the background check already.
That'll be part of your application process, is to gather all that information.
On my list.
Okay. Mrs. Jones, anything else with this? And did you say there was a resolution number?
No, it's just an agenda item.
Okay, I thought I missed that.
Yeah, she said it at the resolution, it wasn't.
Are you guys gonna be able to yay or nay so that we can move on with that?
I don't see why not, based on the things that we've added, if we feel comfortable that, if anyone would like to make a motion, they feel comfortable
By
that.
consensus, I feel fine with it, as long as we, get the information on the person that's giving it, period.
Caroline?
Yeah, we have a lot to do to get this right.
Right.
We just wanna make sure you're good with it.
Right, by consensus, I would agree.
Mr. Coberline's good with that, I'm good with it.
Any other council member thoughts? Ross?
I'm with everybody else on this. If everybody approves it, I don't have a problem with it. As long as we get the information that we've been asking for here.
Okay. It's a lot of information to gather, but I think it's very necessary for something like this, but
Absolutely.
once it's gathered, I feel very comfortable with the event. So, if everyone agrees, we'll pass by general consent? All right. Anybody opposed? All right. You got our direction?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Item B, resolution 2021-09, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the Human Resource Manual, specifically Section 17, hours of work and overtime, subsection 17.03, overtime, and compensatory time, removing language to clarify overtime compensation and providing an effective date. City Manager Gorman?
Yes, sir, it was brought to our attention, we just had some language in our HR manual that kind of contradictory, so it was a little hard to interpret how to handle overtime. In one place it said, it's actually, if you work any hours over 40 hours, you can get overtime. But it kind of retracted that. I thought I had attached, I did, everything into the agenda, but I just wanted to let you know that we're amending it to clarify it. It's really all it is. Doesn't include our weekend fire department, police department, they have their own little thing going on, but I believe this was in the agenda where we marked it up, and I just wanted you to see, at the top it said overtime pay will be granted only if time exceeds employee's regular work week, but on the bottom it said all work performed on Saturday and Sunday regardless of hours shall be paid time and have that. That's not right. So we're removing that language. So what I've done is I've taken the HR manual and I'm codifying it just like we do our muni code with our ordinances. So when we adopted it and every change that we've made to it, putting it in the book. That way there's no questions as we go through and we fix and clarify. We can keep track of those changes. This is the second one. We've already amended it once. This is our second amendment. So we're just asking that you allow us to clean this section of our code.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I do. Is it something that the union needs to speak to? Is it anything, I mean, we're changing policy, I realize it's contradicting itself, but they've been going by this. So is it something the union needs to at least be notified of?
Well, it will be sent out to all of the employees, will be made aware of the change. It has to be vetted to the union too, so
I think
we'll
they
show
need
them.
to approve it before, or at least acknowledge it before we do it.
We'll take care of that.
Then are you asking us to approve it subject to their approval, or we want to hear their approval first and you'll
My
bring it back?
understanding, our HR manual takes precedence over the rules, but we just need to notify them that we are making a correction, right, CJ?
I think we should do it. My opinion is we should do it.
That was the only thought I had when I read it, was did the union need to be notified?
Mayor?
I read the union contract, and this is a change of policy, and in the union contract gives the city the right to make any policy changes they want to make. And I didn't see anything in there that said that they necessarily had to be notified of this change, but I think if you approve it today to take out that statement there, that one line right there, that they be notified so that they can have that in their file. But there's,
So you think they just have to be notified and not approve it?
I didn't see anything that they had to be notified, but as a courtesy, I would notify them, but I didn't see anything in the contract that stated, because in several different places in that contract, they state that policy changes is up to the city and does not necessarily have to be approved by the union, but just as a courtesy. That's just my opinion.
That's how I read it. So, but we'll do it, we'll go through it, if there's a problem, we'll let you know, so.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Any issues with the actual subject matter? Everybody's in agreement? Okay.
Do you want us to go ahead with the resolution?
See fit? I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 2021-09, resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the Human Resource Manual, specifically Section 17, hours of work and overtime, subsection 17.03, removing language for clarification for overtime and compensatory time and providing an effective date.
Second.
A motion and a second on resolution 2021-09. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion passes. Item C, resolution 2021-11. A resolution of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, accepting an exclusive right of sale listing agreement with Harriet Downs Real Estate, LLC, listing 30 acres of property owned by the City of Williston, parcel 13234000200, authorizing the city manager to execute the listing agreement and providing an effective date. Ms. Foreman?
Yes, this is a continuance of the last meeting where we, told you that we were gonna go out and get, 3 realtors to talk to us about their, broker fees, and Harriet Downs came in to be the lowest. Now we have a listing agreement that needs to be signed, and I just wanted to make sure that I was authorized to move forward. So that's what this is about, is to move forward so they can list the 30 acres. This is 30 acres outside the city limits. We're trying to get on the market.
Okay. The last meeting, we talked about this and told you to bring this back.
Yep.
Okay. Any comments, discussion?
Got a question.
Yes, sir?
Does Mark Pompeo, is he the realtor that owns Harriet Downs now, or is he employed by that company?
He owns it.
He owns it? Isn't he sitting on the code enforcement and board of adjustment? Is there any conflict with him? No?
Gorman, Mr. Copeland, you have a comment to that?
We looked into it, as what noted up from the last meeting, and there is not, because the matter does not directly impact that board or the individual in this one.
Okay, thank you. And we got 3 bids back, and this was the lowest of the 3, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Move resolution 2021-11 as presented.
We do have some bids back. How much are they?
It was a listing agreement. 2 of them were at 6% for broker fee, and this was 5. So we went with the 5%, just for broker fee, for good
Okay.
faith, yes.
But you don't have an actual bid.
We went a bit, we called 3 realtors, 2 in town, 1 out of town, and asked for, that they, what their broker fee would be, and it came back.
I'm aware of that.
Yes, sir, that's what that was. It was not advertised, it was just actually called. We called, realtors for this.
But we don't have actual bids on the property.
No bids, no, sir, not a bid, no.
We have a motion on the table to approve resolution 2021-11. Now we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion passes. Item D, discussion with possible action, request for pension contribution. City Manager Gorman.
Yes, sir, this is, during my time as city planner, I had served 2 of the 5 years that need to be vested into Florida League of Cities pension. I was promoted, but Florida League's pension doesn't cover management. So what happens is I contribute into that, and the city has a contribution into that for all employees. I just didn't want to lose that. I understand that I need to follow the same 5 years. If I left for 5 years, the city would get that back. But I'd like for it to stay with me if I could and roll it into the IRA per my contract. And I'm just asking if you would approve of that, so that I didn't lose it.
And that total is $2,650.58.
Yes, sir.
I find the pension contribution percentage to be low. I thought that it was 5%.
Yay. No.
No, I mean, for general employees, isn't it 5%?
I thought it got changed.
It's actually
I
way
think-
more than 5% if you look at it. Last I knew it was like 10.8.
Yay.
But I think that was only because we contribute, I think they contribute 5%, and we are mandated to do 5%.
That's my understanding is that we're 5, the employee's 5, and the city was 2, but I went through, so you don't think that's right? Okay, then we'll check into one. I've only been doing this 3 months trying to get a number, so.
We haven't had a general employee pension committee meeting in years, probably at least 2. I served on it for probably 10 or 12 years. I'm virtually positive that the city employees put in 5, the city put in a minimum of 5, and whatever the fund needed to bring it to its, whatever you call it, what would you call it, the liquidated amount that you needed to support the fund.
Contribution?
Well, that is the contribution, but it's whatever amount is needed, and I think sometimes it goes up to 10 or 12% on our part. But I think we're mandated to do at least 5, which is the same that we ask the employee to do.
We'll go back and look again.
Yeah, I remember some of that discussion in the last.
Call Florida League of
budget.
Cities, they'll know, because they've got it. I mean, they've got the pension funds.
Jennifer's texting me and
Okay.
saying it is 2%.
It is 2.
Did it change, did it go down?
You wanna talk, Jen? Yeah. Hang on a second. She wants to speak, all right?
Yes, please.
Stand by.
I was hoping she was here.
Stand by, hold on.
And she has been working through Florida League, I thought.
All right, you're on.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
I said you're on, hang on.
If you remember,
Hold on.
Hang on, wrong button.
Technology.
Now try it.
Okay?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we got you now.
Okay. Good afternoon or evening, everybody. During the last couple budget sessions that we had, it was noted in the budget that 2% was what the pension was going to be. This was a cost savings. I will double check my notes tomorrow when I get into work, but I know that there was a downgrade in pension percentage for regular employees for budget savings. And that is in the budget again.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Jennifer, we may have a few questions for you.
Was it downgraded?
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Was it downgraded in the budget because we had overfunded the pension? I believe that would be the
Yes,
case.
ma'am.
Okay, so I guess what I would like to know is, because we have overfunded it, had we already given our 5%? Or did we actually, what does the pension read? I just would like somebody to check that. Not that I want to give her any more
I can
money, I just want to make sure we're doing it right.
Yes, ma'am. I will double check that for you tomorrow morning. And I will discuss it with Jackie and we will send you an email. Is that acceptable?
I mean, you can send us an email to clarify, and then we can put it on the agenda
Yep.
for the next meeting to wrap up. Okay. I mean, I think, in theory, I agree with what you're saying, I just wanna make sure that we're doing it right.
Me too. In theory, I have no problem whatsoever. I just want to make sure the 2% seems mighty low. Because I know we required them to do 5, and I thought we matched the 5. And we may have downgraded it because we'd overfunded it.
I know whenever we had the budget hearing last, we were overfunded, and we were able to reduce it down to
Because
around
the
2%,
funds
keep
were
it at
already
2%,
in
and
there.
the funds are already there.
I agree.
But in general, what you're saying is if you had left employment here, you would lose that because you weren't vested, but because you actually stayed and upgraded your employment, you don't want to be punished for that reason.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer, if you'll get us that information, and then we'll put it on the agenda, please, Mrs. Wright, for the next meeting. Okay?
Yes, sir. I'll take care of that first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you. All right, item E, discussion with possible action, review job description and determine who city clerk reports to. So, last meeting, we finalized all of our 6-month review we did for the city clerk, and we had a lot of comments and discussion about job description and job duties, and matter of fact, even some of the evaluation pages or sections did not really pertain to the city clerk at this time, some of it being HR and other things. So we asked to bring this back tonight to talk about the actual job description for the city clerk, and then part 2 of that would be who the city clerk reports to. In the agenda, we've got basically the job description and duties of the city clerk. As all of you know and have read, there are certain things set forth by the charter that the city clerk has to do, and then there's a lot of other duties, so. Mrs. Gorman, you have a comment?
I do. I just,
You're off.
am I on?
You're off.
I just want to make sure, kind of a thought, a conversation I had about the charter itself. It's time for a charter review committee to be put together and review the charter. Back when that was written, it was before this type of organizational structure of city government was put in place. We didn't have a city manager back then. So a lot of the powers went into the clerk. Your charter needs to kind of be based on your organization, the type of city government, you know, whether it's mayor, form of government, city manager form of government, and it needs to be structured accordingly. So I suggest, it's been a while since you had a charter review committee, that you put one together, get some legal guidance on revising that a little bit and start working on it. And then, only other thing I want to say is once you felt comfortable with this, I need to get it put into a regular, job description format with pay grades and so forth, so it's with all the rest of them in our HR manual, so that's all I want to bring up.
Okay. Okay, I don't know that we have any specific way to proceed with this at this time, but I'm open for comments and discussion. I've got a few things to say, but we'll start. Mr. Cox, anything you want to comment on this yet? Mr. Robinson?
Not right this minute.
Mr. Ross?
Well, we're talking about who does the city clerk report to?
we have two pieces here. One is who does the city clerk report to?
Yeah.
And one is the actual job description and duties that are spelled out in the city
Yeah, I'm
clerk.
talking about reporting to.
Okay.
Doesn't the city clerk report to the council? And shouldn't the city clerk report to you or the head of the council, who then confers with other council members to confirm it? Is that not the way we've been doing it?
There's been a lot of, I think, question about that, and there's been a lot of questions over the years from what I've seen through research about this topic. So, I think what you're saying is understood by a lot of folks to be the process, but that's what we're here to talk about. What is the...
He cannot discuss with all of us. I mean, she could call him, but he cannot discuss with us because of sunshine law.
Right.
Right,
That's why I'm asking it here.
right.
I remember at one time there was some hassle about that, and the city manager referred to the city clerk as the girl Friday, which didn't go over very well at all. And so then we went back to reporting to the president of the council, who in turn conferred with the other council members to determine what the overall opinion was. So I don't know if that changed, or we're not doing it that way now, or we want to change it, or what, I don't know. I'm not, that's the question I have. I'm not concerned about the job description. We can edit that out all right.
Well, I think this is what we're here to try to start getting some direction on tonight. I mean, the topic, what you're bringing up is exactly what we're talking about. You know, is the questions that have been brought to me, or the thoughts are, does the city clerk report to the whole council by way of the council president, the rest of the council be informed at meetings? Does the city clerk report to the city manager daily, yet still responsible to the city council? Those are the questions that we're asking. And I've seen where this has been addressed in prior council minutes and meetings and various things, so. So I can't answer, I mean, I can give you my thought on the way that I understand it to work, but.
Well, is that not what we're doing here?
That's what we're here to discuss.
Right.
Throwing these things out,
Yes, sir.
we could probably weed against some things that everybody would be opposed to. I don't know what they'd be.
Well, I mean, here we go again, two topics. First one, if the first one needs to be who does the city clerk report to, then that's what we need to address first.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through some of my documents. Anything else, Mr. Ross, on that
No,
piece?
not at this point.
Ms. Jones, anything?
Just to comment about the charter, and when I read the charter, it has the city manager in the charter. It's not that it's not there, it is. Both positions are in the charter. I'm not disagreeing that we need some charter review and revision, but I do see that the city manager is written into the charter as a charter officer. If you go to subsection 3.03, which I just happen to have, it talks about the duties and powers of the city manager. And it specifically says, that they direct and supervise all of the other administrative policies adopted by the city, except for the police and the fire and the city clerk. It specifically says that. So that's one person we can take out of the mix, according to the current charter, that the city clerk does not report to. I mean, I guess the council could do a directive, but it would be against the current charter as it is written. That's in subsection 3.03, under the powers and duties of the city manager. When you go to the city clerks, it doesn't, as you say, doesn't specifically say who they report to on a day-to-day basis, other than to the council.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the clarification needs to come, I guess.
Well, what's confusing is in the job description, under miscellaneous, at the very bottom, it says, any other duties as assigned by city manager or council.
I saw that.
So it's very conflicting.
It is.
Well, they're supposed to charter officers, so that, we don't want a conflict.
Right, independent of each other.
Right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the way I read, and I think where the confusion comes in, is that, to me, it reads that the charter basically says that the city clerk reports to the council because it doesn't state otherwise.
Right.
But then this job description that's been adopted in duties lets the
Mhm.
city manager determine if there's any additional duties or things to be asked of the city clerk to help out on a daily basis. So, I think that's why we're
Right.
here,
Exactly why
and
we're
where we're at. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I just said we need to tackle one thing at a time, but just to go off for a second, when you get into the second issue, which is the actual job description, I mean, there's a bold statement in the first page of this job description that says the city clerk shall have the following job duties. Duties marked with an asterisk are in fulfillment of responsibilities set forth in section 3.04 of the city charter. All others may be amended by the city manager.
Right.
So the city manager can, we could give this to the city manager and say, change the job description or the duties of the city clerk, take out the stuff for HR and other things, because that's what it says this is gonna do.
Yeah.
So,
And because she is, the city manager is our administrative person, so she would be the one to help us do that.
right.
I agree with that.
Right, I mean, we can't go ask the city clerk to necessarily write her own job description, so the city manager would be the one to help us do that. And honestly, in exchange for sitting here for hours or having a workshop to try to, whittle out things in this job description somebody else is doing, I would be ready to ask the city manager to help us work on the job description.
The only thing that I saw, and I haven't talked to Latricia about it, I don't know how she feels about it, but the only thing that I saw in reading this job description that we have in our packet, the only thing that I would think might be considered to be taken out would be the workman's comp. And it might go really well to the HR director.
Mhm.
As someone who's been an HR director for a hospital, I also did the workman's comp. And it pairs really well because you have a relationship with your employees, you have that privacy and the
That's where it should be.
confidentiality.
That's where it should be.
And that's really, looking at all of these individual things, the execution, the council meetings, the maintenance of the files, the assignments, the advertisements, the codification, the election, supervisor elections, the annual audit and the retention of records, all of that belongs with the city clerk. The only thing I really saw that might could come out would be that workman's comp section
Where would you put it?
with the HR director.
HR. Also, where it says, in miscellaneous, where it says, take on acting city manager duties in the absence of city manager.
Right.
When necessary.
Right, we now have
CJ.
CJ.
We have a deputy city manager.
Right, that could come out as well. I saw that as well. Other than that, I think it reads pretty good.
I agree, those are the things I had highlighted, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as the job description, the city manager can help us clean this
Tag
up
your-
and bring it back
tag
to
your
us.
it.
Okay, so the issue then becomes really, who does the city clerk answer to, and are we making any changes to that, or do we wish to make any changes to that? So the way I understand it is, I'll restate it again, is city clerk reports to the city council, and the charter officer. And
Well, now, when you say to the city council, define city council. That's what you're saying. They have-
5 of you.
all of us.
Yeah, all right.
I haven't read anywhere where it says they report to the president. But, Mr. Mayor, you got something?
I have one question of the council. Who's gonna oversee the day-to-day, job of the city clerk? I know it says that she reports to the city council, but which one of you is gonna oversee her day-to-day operations? He can't answer for the council.
No, you can't.
Well, who can?
All 5 of you.
Okay.
But y'all cannot discuss it at all because you're in the sunshine.
You can't hear this thing?
You can't hear at this table, but if there's a discussion or something that needs to come up from a day-to-day operation, are you gonna wait until the council meeting?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Or something that needs to be addressed right then and there or on that particular day? You've got to, my feeling is you've got to have somebody that oversees the day-to-day operations. If there's a question in those day-to-day operations or whatever, then that should be brought before the council based on what the charter says. But that's just my opinion.
But who?
I agree. No, you go.
Who can oversee the charter officer?
Well, I think her initial contact should be the president. If she has an issue, if she has something she needs or wants to say, or if the council has something that they need or want to say, I think it should be the president, or this whole body in a meeting.
Okay.
But in between the meetings, I think her go-to person should be the president.
That's what I agree.
I can't see that it would be anybody else.
But there again, I just can't see where the president's gonna be able to oversee on a daily, or be present at City Hall to oversee what the city clerk does on a daily basis when it's needed.
Does it have to be done on a daily basis?
That's the question. Everybody else has got a boss here.
Well, the city manager, how is it different? Does the city manager have somebody they answer to on a daily basis?
No.
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 But she's under contract. The city clerk is not under contract.
But they're both charter officers.
But,
Yeah,
that's true. But it's whether the council wants to have somebody oversee day-to-day operations when needed. Because, no offense to the chair here, but.
Or any of us.
Or any of you, or whoever's in the chair, if you're saying that it reports to the president, it's just like that they're gonna have to be available whenever the city clerk needs them to be available, and that could be a probable impossibility, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I may, we have an assistant city manager now that we've never had before, that doesn't have to follow the same, he doesn't get, evaluated publicly. I mean, I could see that because it's contract. But now we have a deputy city manager involved that doesn't, to me, he has rank also, in a sense. I think what bothers me is everything that happens with the clerk has to be done publicly, and I don't feel that's fair. I just don't feel it's fair, because she's another department head. She reports to council in the sense that she works for council as far as making sure all their work is done correctly. But I just have a problem with the evaluations being done publicly because it's not normal. But on the other side of that, she got a merit and got an increase where the rest of the employees did not. So there's a real imbalance taking place in our chart that I'm that I'm hoping we can correct. CJ and I are working towards merit going forward for all of our employees at another time, but to be publicly evaluated is very difficult. And that is really the only opportunity you have to talk to your supervisor and talk about what works, what doesn't work, set goals and objectives. That didn't happen. So why go through all of that with her? And it's nerve-wracking. be honest with you, not knowing what's gonna happen when you're on public display like that. I'd like to see it done a little different, I don't know how I can help make that happen for that position. That's my only concern, is you got 3 major players sitting at the dais, working for you with the managers, deputy manager, and the clerk, but she's the only one that gets, besides me, I mean, that has the public eval. That's odd to me. I've never seen that in any of the places I've ever worked, so I'd like to just be able to fix that for future. If we can do it a little better, that would be great. I mean, I like to fight for this staff, and that's one of the things that I'm concerned with.
This is right, you had a comment?
Yes. Normally, if I have an issue during the daytime, I've always text Justin to give me a call. If I ever had an issue or problem on my daily basis of doing work.
I completely understand, Jackie, what you're saying about the evaluation. That was an awkward process, but if we don't do that, then what's the alternative? Who's evaluating her? We're evaluating her, but we're sending it to somebody else? Or is that other person evaluating the city clerk who's, you know what I mean? I get it. I know that that was awkward, and that's kind of been the way it's obviously been for a long time, but
she does answer to us, so it has to be public.
So how do other cities do it?
I'm sorry?
How do other cities do it?
Yeah.
Do they do it in public?
Everywhere I've been, they've not done that. They
Okay.
work for council, but they report it to the manager, and I'm not vying for that, I'm just saying that's how it was structured. And what would happen is the manager would give us all counsel one-on-one, say what kind of issues you have, and then it's your counsel. Part of being a manager is counseling your employees too if there's a problem, helping them through it, up to the HR. If you're not here 24/7, you know, if you can't see that or do that, you know, Latricia's great to work with. You meet somebody who's not great to work with, and then the rest of us are stuck with that because we can't do anything about it. But
I mean, how do other cities do the evals?
they get to the city manager. I've not seen one that's not reported through a city manager. Now, again, I'm not vying for that. I'm just saying it was structured with others.
And the council members still do the eval and they give it to the city manager? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can you get some documentation of that from a couple of even larger cities, just so we can see that it's
I like
not
that because
against the sunshine?
I don't like my comments to be.
Right, I agree 100%. I'd rather not put it in public. I just don't know how to do it.
My comments weren't bad, but I thought it was between me and her.
I'll work with Latricia and we'll find a process that fits a little better.
Yeah.
Work with Mr. Coberline too.
If I'm not mistaken, this
Charter came as a result of a battle that took place between a manager and a clerk, did it not? Wasn't there some history there where they had some conflict and that's why that charter was written that way?
yes,
It's
that's
just
my understanding
odd.
I questioned a few past council members and read a bunch of minutes, and that's part of what I understood was that there was concern that if we had a overpowering city manager that would just take over the city clerk and, you know, not be a good situation. So that's part of what I understood, was that they wanted some independence between the two of them. But I know this issue came up not that many years ago, and nobody could agree at that point either. It looked like it all failed due to lack of majority vote, So what's the wish of the council tonight as far as direction and where we go?
Get information that they talked about
I
and bring
would-
it back to the next meeting and.
Have Ms. Gorman check on other cities on how they do it.
I'll work with Latricia, we'll come up with
Yeah.
something from somewhere else. We just need to fix it.
Right,
That's all.
and what's fair to her.
Yeah, I agree.
I have one more thing,
Oh,
real quick.
Yes, sir.
I've read the job description down here, and the job description, yes, and that's in the charter and whatnot. But if you will go through the charter and whatnot, and start picking and choosing and seeing what the city clerk does, there's a lot more stuff in there that she does
There's
than
a whole
what's in
book.
than what's in this job description. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff in here. Challenges and protests, that includes the city clerk, absentee ballots, appeals, designation, billing, collection, response fees, determining types of service, establishment of public records qualifying date, poll workers, permit payment required for use. There's a lot of stuff in here that the city clerk does. It's not in this job description. And I'm just bringing all this to your attention.
Yeah, and I'm not sure we'll ever get it in there, all of it, but we need as much as we can that she's doing, and keeping in mind that there's certain things with these asterisks that has to be done.
And I think some of them are part of what needs to be revised.
That's right, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
the permitting and all that, and the city business licenses, she's not responsible for that anymore.
That's right. Years ago, the clerk handled a lot more duties than what's now.
The clerk was all we had before.
That's right.
And it's probably 3 or 4 in a row that I know of, they even did the books.
Right.
They did everything.
And the last charter, review was in, and I might be off a year, it was '04, I think, because I was on that charter review.
Daddy was on
Mr.
there.
French was on
Yeah.
that charter review.
Yep.
Mr. Nussel was on that charter review, and I can't remember who else was on it, but that was back in '04, was the last charter review.
So you didn't fix this back then, you're saying?
I tried, but they voted me down.
Yeah. And remember, the public has to approve any changes, so it has to be
Oh, yeah, it had to
has to be
come.
palatable for them.
Yeah, okay, and I can rephrase that, the council voted me down.
Okay, so city manager and city clerk gonna work together, come up with some direction to report back to us at the next meeting.
We will. Do you also want to move forward with the charter review committee? At this point, because we gotta fix that in order to get job description.
Right, we gotta
So it's-
start at the top,
what do you
yes.
think?
I think so. When you brought it up to me, I thought it was a great idea.
I agree.
I think we need to go ahead with this, and not wait on it. I think if you want to go ahead and start a charter review committee and start the process, but some of these things, I think you need to get settled now, not wait on them.
We will. We'll take care of this, but I'm just saying, we're paying it.
Yeah.
So you want to.
But, yeah, I think what she's, and I don't put words in her mouth, but the way I read this, there's things that can come out of this that we unfairly had to talk about in an evaluation. That nobody liked the process, but when you were talking about things that don't even apply,
Right.
then,
And the evaluation
We need to
itself
clean
needs
that
to be
up.
changed too.
yes, yeah, definitely. Okay. All right, any other discussion on that? Okay.
No, sir.
All right. Moving on to item 6, public participation. This is your second and last chance for anyone in the public that would like to speak. You'll have 5 minutes. Please come to the podium and state your name and city of residence, and open the floor. Anybody online here? No, you incorrect. All right, item 7, announcements. Mr. Ross.
I have none.
No, sir.
One.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Have one. We got 6 more weeks of winter.
Oh, sure. Groundhog Day.
Thank you, Groundhog.
Mr. Cox? Mr. Robinson?
No, sir.
I'm gonna say something I shouldn't say, and then I'm gonna close with it, but I try to stay off social media. I don't have really any of those, outlets and accounts and all those things, but,
Good choice.
I think everybody here understands this, and I'm gonna say it though, so somebody can come ask me about it if they'd like to, but the City of Williston is not building an auto parts store,
Right.
or restaurant, or grocery store. So, I understand that some people in the public wonder, why are we getting this, or why are we getting that? We have not elected to build any of them.
We are not the
Those are
construction.
private individuals that want to invest their money and apply for permits and build things. So, just want to make that statement so that everybody understands that it's not us that's actually building those things.
And we haven't turned them down either.
Absolutely not. Okay, staff have any announcements? All right.
Mr. Witt has his hand up.
Do we know who else is going into the shopping center besides, no?
I'm going as soon as Popeyes opens.
Me too.
Oh, you mean stores,
Me too.
retail?
But
No.
I'm not going to a grocery
We
store.
have Tractor Supply plan, so we know that's a confirmed. Yes. That is confirmed, but that's all we know at this point. We're still waiting on the plat, so we can finish out the subdivision part of it. And the road, there's still a lot of things happening out there we need to work on, but there's only 2 sites. That's Popeyes and Tractor Supply. We're understanding that's not gonna happen. I heard that from the developer, so I think I can say that officially.
Okay. Mr. Copeland?
Is the construction still on pace of the Six Flags at the old Renissimo? Saw that on
MySpace, is that what you said?
MySpace? Who looks at MySpace anymore? Oh, no.
Can't answer that one, sir.
You're so funny.
All right, if there are no other announcements, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.
You have a good week. I'll see you in 2 weeks, I guess.